Hey guys, so I have not made a regular long form video for YouTube in a while, so I thought we would do that. Today I'll just make comments after every single student that I have. I won't reveal like personal information, but I'll just talk about how the lesson went, what I was covering, just so you guys can see a little bit more of what I teach and how I help students from all over the world. I will admit that the shorts are so much easier to make. They seem to be more appropriate for today's level of attention span. I did get a weird comment the other day. The comment was on one of my recent shorts and it said the moment they saw that I had a tutoring business, they had like lost their... The moment you termed tutoring as business, you lost me. And then basically pointing out that tutoring should be looked at, or education should be looked at, from a different perspective. Long story short, I've actually worked in a business environment when I worked at an English academy in South Korea a few years ago. And back then I also thought that business was a negative term because I associated it with my Korean boss coming in and yelling at his Korean employees because a student decided to disenroll or leave the school. They didn't like that because that meant losing money. Well, if you actually look at the definition of the word business, it says business is a person's regular occupation, profession, or trade, and it's the practice of making one's living by engaging in commerce, trade. Is there something wrong with the word business this person didn't like? If you think all education should somehow not be some type of trade in which money and time is exchanged, let me know. I'd love to hear your perspective, because what I have to offer I know is valuable because families of students have told me. So, I mean, there are some things that you should be able to learn for free, just certain life experiences, but I just thought it was kind of narrow-minded or short-sighted for someone to have a problem with a tutoring business. I'm just like, if you want to debate, we can, but I won't get into that too much. Anyway, the first student I'll tell you guys about is actually from, I guess it doesn't matter, I won't give like private information, but he's actually from Saudi Arabia. And it's amazing that my YouTube videos or website can get found from other parts of the world. And it's funny really that a lot of students all around the world are wanting to learn the same thing. So there's the foundations of English grammar. I'm using the Michael Clay Thompson curriculum with them, and here's my setup. I'll show you guys. Laptop. Big screen, yay. Okay, he's in the waiting room, so it is now time. Why am I on this camera? Let's go. The best thing you can do when learning, especially with this Michael Clay Thompson curriculum, is to first start with the grammar. So right here, this is actually level 2 Grammar Town, and it's one thing to memorize the conjunctions, but the added challenge is, okay, identify the conjunction, here it is, and, but what two words is and combining, or holding together rather? Well, tall and handsome, those happen to be adjectives, and here they are. So his job for homework was to actually fill out this list, and most of the books don't have little exercises like this. I have to make them myself, but these 2 pages are actually pretty extensive. Over here, can you figure out what it is? Look at number 4. Murphy wrote quickly but neatly. Okay, what is the conjunction? It's the word but. What type of conjunction is it? It is a coordinating one. What 2 words are these? Adverbs. This student has also gotten interested in chess. So during class, I actually made a starter sentence for him. I asked him the question, what is it that you can say about chess? Like, what are the details about it? I was always a type of student who liked to just jump right into my writing assignments and just see what happened, but that can get some students off track. So I can't necessarily teach students in the same way that I would prefer to write. Some people need to sit down, speak about the writing topic out loud, write out some phrases and vocabulary words and ideas. So we did this here. I said, let's talk about chess. What is it? We said it's competitive, it's strategic. It can be a great way to entertain people. Using the IXL tool, I can actually select certain activities that students need. So this one, of course, would need things like prepositional phrases practice. And I realized, oh yeah, the other day we worked on adjectives and adverbs. I better put one of those activities in there. We can use them during class, but a lot of the time I'll just assign them for homework because it just gives them practice. I don't want to say practice problems, just practice questions, so that it just helps reinforce that newly learned knowledge. Major breakthrough with one student from Florida. He and his brother have been awesome students of mine for a while, and I'll talk about the younger brother first. I'm working with the MCT books with both brothers, so we're doing a lot of grammar, but at this point we've gotten into writing, and I'm trying to get them to write the topic sentences, solid paragraphs, essays, and the younger student was not always writing a lot. Like, he would maybe write paragraphs, or we could write things together in class, but I noticed that he just wouldn't give me a whole lot of content to deal with, and I want them to write a lot so that I can give feedback and thus they get more practice. Well, I don't know what happened within the past 2 weeks, but we started talking about vampires in particular. Okay, he's not actually reading this book. It'd be, at this point, only probably a couple of my students would be ready for an upper level book like Dracula, but he got the name Van Helsing and the word vampire in his head, and we just started writing a story together, and then he took it and ran with it. I mean, take a look at this. He wrote all of this by himself for homework. I mean, that meant he was sitting there engaged writing after one of our lessons, and he came to me for our next lesson a couple of days later, and I said, "Did you write all this?" And I knew he had. He had written it by himself because it sounded like him. There were little errors and little things that he had done, and I thought, I can tell nobody else has touched this, but you are so proud of him. So, and it wasn't even finished. He wanted to do more, and so he actually has added more, and now we're on to werewolves. So it's vampires, werewolves, and I thought, what could be next? Clearly we're getting excited about October. Well, his brother actually just finished writing his second MLA essay, and this is, he told me, the first time he's actually worked one-on-one with a tutor to successfully complete an essay. I think beforehand he was tutoring with something else, and he told me he only had 2 weeks to get it done. Now, in the classroom, you do have a certain time frame in which to write a paper, but the beauty of working one-to-one in an online homeschooling environment is that if the student is not ready to move forward with the essay, you can go back and work with them on that, and you don't have to do it for the entire lesson. Like, we've done other IXL activities, we've done other review, grammar, definitely a lot of the Caesar's English vocabulary and stems, but I'm proud of him for doing something pretty hard for his level. I mean, what all my students are doing now, I did not do at their age, so they're ahead of me at that age. Do you know what I mean? Okay, as you guys can probably tell, it's much later in the day. I thought I could be clever by filming after every single lesson. No, way too busy, and this takes more focus than I ever assumed. So anyways, the next student I want to talk about is a student that actually does like world schooling. He and his family travel a lot, so for them it makes the best sense to do homeschooling, which is so fascinating to me. And he just finished an essay. This is one of his first, I think it's his very first official MLA formatted essay. And so I know I've shown you guys this 1,000 times, but I've read this book with about 3 students now, The Invisible Man, H.G. Wells, and I just love it because it's so fascinating. It's challenging enough with the vocabulary and some of the concepts, but I personally think it's a great book to write about. The advantage of getting to tutor with me is that I do research for students based on what they need. So this student needed some really good writing prompts, and a lot of those can be obtained for free. Sometimes they're on teacher pay teachers. So I found this prompt right here, and we made some changes to it because I like to present at least 2 ideas, and I'll say, which one would you like? Because if you give students too many choices, it's just overwhelming for them. But if you give them at least more than one writing topic, they have the freedom to pick what they think they would like to respond with, and we go from there. So if you haven't read this book yet, I do recommend it. He's working through the Voyager level as well, so that means we reviewed grammar, but he's able to move ahead. Okay, is this too bright? Yes, kind of. Okay, well, it's officially dark, but I can still mention one more student. I have more to talk about, but I'll just talk about the ones I tutored today. So the last student I'll mention is a girl from New York City, and she has been really excited about poetry. And one great way to get students started with poetry is to use the Michael Clay Thompson Building Poems. I've mentioned in previous videos that honestly, this book is kind of mostly all you need if you want your student to learn all the terminology and all the rhythm and like alliteration and everything you can learn with this book. The only advantage of going up in book, like up in level and buying more of the poetry books, is just that there's more examples. But I mean, you can find a lot of poetry examples from other books and certainly online. A fun way to get started, instead of just reading really dry upper level poems, or instead of going back to Dr. Seuss or nursery rhyme, one fun way to start reading and creating poems is to do limericks. And I think students of any age can do a limerick. There's one I really love here. There once was a man from Nantucket who kept his cash in a bucket. His daughter named Nan ran away with a man, and as for the bucket, Nan tuck it. The rules for limericks are, it's like 5, 7, 5. Here they are on the screen. And actually, it seems simple, but it's not the easiest. It's not the easiest writing exercise. It actually takes thought. I always start with listing words that rhyme. It always surprises me that students really need a lot of help with that, because talking about end rhyme and talking about words that seem like they rhyme but they don't have that perfect rhyme. Once you have a collection of words that rhyme, it's best to like put them. You know what? I shouldn't give away too many trade secrets. If you guys are interested in getting somebody like me to help teach your child, particularly if they're ages 9 and up, like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I know it seems like a lot, like a wide range, but I mean, I love that group because they're really past the basic elementary level. They know how to read. They've had some experience with reading and writing, but they're still excited about it, and they need the help. They need the experience from someone who knows what they're doing, which I definitely do, because this is an ongoing thing for me. I didn't just go to school and then like start working and stop learning, you know? So also follow me on Instagram. I do keep that updated pretty well. Some of my parents actually follow me on there, and it's so neat to see. Sometimes they'll post something, and I think it's good just to keep communication going in a quick, simple way. I do email parents and give reports on how their student is doing and how they can improve, or how the parent can pitch in and help. But social media is like a quick way to just glance and see, oh, what's Miss Jessica from PEZ Tutoring doing? So guys, thanks for watching. Comment below if you think tutoring businesses are a good thing or maybe a weird thing, or especially just reach out to my email right here, or check out my website if you really want to have a consultation to figure out, how can I help your student? How can I help you achieve greater things than what you're doing now? Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.